let's get into it, shall we? McVay, dangerous, the whole thing. All last week we had Braden Fisk on. He was leading rookies in sacks going into this week. He was named Player of the Month sometime last week. And it was, what are these Rams? I don't know what to do with them. They're sitting there at 6-6. That they seem 6-60 to me, 6-70, 7-60, whatever. What are they? And then Stafford rolls in. This is shot for shot with Josh Allen. Maybe not at the same time, but this is like a vintage Stafford performance because everyone was out there. Everyone was healthy. Puka Nacua, just the most fun player of yesterday's action. What a game. Best game as a pro. 17 touches, 178 yards, 2 scores, running over people, through people, having a great time while he does it. The Bills really had no answer for him. He is just a revelation, so unique, fun to watch. O-line looked consistent, looked as good as it's looked. No sacks allowed. Stafford barely got touched in this one. You love to see it for them. They're 5-2 since Puka and Cooper Kupp returned to the lineup. They got wins over the Vikings, the Seahawks, and the Bills. Tough to say that if they stay healthy, they can't make a little bit of a run here. And if you look at their schedule, it kind of dictates that. LA still only getting a 41% chance to make the playoffs, okay? Plus 154 over on FanDuel Sportsbook. I think they're alive. They're alive, and they're getting set for Thursday Night Football. Short week for them against the Niners. Clearly got a lot of confidence. They're 1 game back of the Commanders for wild card spot, 1 game back of Seattle in the NFC West. They are a team who's got the pedigree. I heard Tom talking about that all day yesterday. You don't want to see them if you're one of the contenders in the NFC. You do not want that smoke. They, of course, won the game, though nobody would think that way because everyone's talking about the Bills side of things, which I get. Josh Allen's insane. We said, Kuechly, how do you stop him? The Rams could and could not, really could not for the entire time. They tried to, of course. But is this a loss that cements his MVP bid? I think it might be. He became the first player in NFL history with 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. He extends his lead as the favorite on FanDuel Sportsbook, minus 450. Saquon distant second at plus 550, okay? I don't want to overreact to one little game, one little vacuum. Hamilton and I talked about this at length on this group text chain when I was taking people down left and right. This defense is the question mark for the Bills. We were talking about the contenders, and I'm going to bring you in for this, not to bring the Steelers up. We'll talk about them. Steelers, I think we had a really great point yesterday and they have the highest floor. The Steelers you trust the most. The Bills have a lower, way higher ceiling, of course, but the Bills' defense is a bit of a question mark, and it's going to get exploited against an offense like the Rams. Can you explain that a little bit? Yeah,
and we talked about it before the game even started, that the one question I have with the Bills is just the talent level on defense. They're so well coached with Sean McDermott. You know everybody's going to do what they're supposed to do. They're super disciplined. They're going to play hard. They're going to fly to the ball, but they did lose a lot of pieces there, and the talent level isn't quite what it was. And you saw it against the Ravens earlier in the year when they go against an offense that has a lot of speed, that has a lot of athletes. They looked vulnerable, and the Rams, that's one of the few offenses they've seen since that kind of has that. Yes, they saw the Niners, but the snow was a mitigating factor there.
What do you mean the Niners were the greatest show on turf yesterday? What are you talking about? Best offense I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Who's a contender that the Bills could face that could give them some trouble offensively?
And see, that's the thing, is the AFC doesn't have a ton of matchups that can really
exploit. Luck out.
Yeah, the Ravens are really the team that I think is a tough matchup for them. The Bengals, that Bengals offense, though, those are the only 2 like really explosive offenses in the AFC right now. You tweeted it out. 7 of the top 8 offenses in the NFL are in the NFC. So the Bills might still be able to get to the Super Bowl even if that defense is a little bit of a problem.
We don't want to overreact, but I mean, the Bills have the lowest ranked total defense that they've had in 5 years, okay? That is not great. Buffalo scored 6 touchdowns without a turnover, the 248th time a team has done that in NFL history. There's a lot of things to talk about here. Aqib Talib's the perfect person to ask about the Buffalo defense, what they need. But if you look at, they weren't like blown coverage. They weren't like messing things up. There weren't a ton of mistakes on the defensive side, but that's almost worse because then it's like a personality
issue.
Oh, I think they're fine because they've got Josh Allen.